Hello, I'm back, and this time not with an X Pro 1 video, but with a new camera that I'd like to showcase and bestow a few virtues on. This is the Sony RX10 mk4, and well, this camera's been a bit of a revelation for me really, because it's actually replaced a lot of my professional kit and lenses, and it's a lot lighter too. Now, it's looked at really as a bit of a sort of hybrid bridge camera, a very top end one anyway. It handles like a DSLR, has all the functions of a DSLR, has a built-in lens between 24mm and 600mm optically, and it starts at 2.4 and goes to f4. So you can actually just leave it at say f4, and it's like a constant f4 all the way through from 24 to 600. This zoom can further be extended using the proprietary Sony clear image zoom, which then doubles the length of the lens and makes it 1200mm, which really is getting into the realms of ridiculous, because the image quality doesn't really degrade, well, not that you can notice anyway. So that's a fantastic feature when you're doing wildlife and nature like I am. It also does great landscapes and seascapes. Macro photography is brilliant as well. It's very close. At the shorter end of the lens, it's incredibly close, like 1 centimetre or something like that, and then almost touching the lens. But then when you're at the long end of the lens, you're just under a metre, which is incredible, because you can get shots that are very far away, but you can isolate the subject with the background with those distances, and obviously extending to 1200 as well. Something that's forgotten about usually when people talk about this camera is as well that it has 9-bladed aperture, which gives great bokeh, and at those lengths you get some real soft and delicious backgrounds that really put the soft focus into action. It's really a stunning camera, very customizable. The lens, the Zeiss lens, is one of the best I've ever used. It really is a beautiful piece of glass, and the autofocus works superbly with this camera. I mean, it's a real pretty much like the Sony A1. The speed of the autofocus is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The colours and the overall feel of the camera is, rendition is just beautiful. It has a 1-inch sensor, which is much better than the sort of standard bridge camera that you could buy, or some of those ones from years ago weren't very good at all. And with the advance of technology, it really does make these beautiful images that are sort of unbelievable, really. They've got to the stage now where, I can't really tell the difference between this and a crop sensor. So it really is a surprise to me to see this. Full of functions, typical Sony. The menus are, when people talk about Sony menus, they always say, oh, they're complicated. Well, they're bunched into various categories. They're not really anything too difficult. I mean, once you get the camera set up how you want it, there's not much more you need to do, because you have the custom buttons there, and on the back here, and it really does just, work just like a DSLR really. So once you get it set up how you want it, it's absolutely fine to use. So why have I gone over to this camera? Well, as I said really at the beginning, that it's replaced really my working practice now is to not go out with so many bags and so many lenses. So it's replaced that working method. So now I can just put this over my shoulder and go out and do everything. It hasn't stopped me from doing anything one bit. In fact, it's improved the images, and it's almost addictive to use, really. It's such a lovely camera to use. And I think it's really given me sometimes images that I probably couldn't have got so easily with the DSLR. It's a pretty much do it all one camera that is very impressive. I'm trying to think of some other things. There's one thing that people don't really talk about much, you see, if you're a stills photographer and you have this tilting screen, okay, now to my mind that's perfect, because if you want to do those low image shots, or if you're going higher up, obviously you tilt it this way, and you know that's perfect. Now if you have a full articulating screen, that people will say, oh, why didn't they put this on there, so forth. Now that's okay for videography, but if you're a stills photographer like I am, and you don't really have any interest in video, if you think about this, if you have a full articulating screen, when you want to do the low angle shots, the screen is then to the side of the camera like this, okay, so it's perpendicular to the camera. So if you're trying to line up a shot, you're then looking over here to the side of you, so it's not really perfect for the practice of working at low angles. So for my mind, I'd rather have the screen in front of the camera. So we have an angled screen which is in front of the camera, which is like the viewfinder. You see, you're lined up to it. You're in line with the subject. So it's just one of those things that I wanted to mention, because people do make a big deal of these things sometimes. Now, this, I understand, is a fantastic video camera as well. So if you do like video, then it is fantastic for that, and you can do slow motion videos, and you know, has all the video functions on that you would like, really. So you know, that was just to mention that if you do like video. Another feature this camera has, which is quite unusual as well, really, is that we have an aperture ring here, like the old style, and it clicks. Now underneath the lens there's a declicker, so you can turn it off and have a smooth aperture ring. So that is good for obviously videography if you want that. The camera is a sort of a good weight in the hand. It's not what you call light. I suppose you would sort of liken it to a small DSLR. So it does handle, the grip is very, very good here. Really, really nice. The grip on the thumb there is pronounced, and you do have you know, a EV wheel there, so you can adjust your exposure comp as you go. You do have also a zoom ring and a focus ring, so you have the two rings there, you see, and it really does operate so lovely, because you can zoom in, zoom out, using the old-fashioned style of zooming like that, or you can use the button here. It also has the manual focus setting here as well, with focus peaking, single shot focus, and tracking continuous. So there's so many features on this camera, really, that it really makes sense when you're out in the field, and it really helps you to get the shots that you want. So it's an exciting camera, really, for me. It's finally they've brought out something which really does help me just to limit the equipment I take with me and get some lovely shots. So I just thought I'd like to introduce that to you. It may or may not be of any interest to you, but I thought I would make a video however. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you again shortly.